everyone. Welcome to Senshi Cosplay Myths Podcast. Episode 3, we will be talking about skincare and makeup. I'm Rebecca, and my co-host is...
Hi, I'm Deborah. I am the cosplayer here.
Yes, I don't cosplay. I'm learning along with all of you, or as if some of you have already done it, you probably know some things and are here just to learn some more things, which I'm learning. There are lots of things to learn with cosplaying. So, for our topic today, we're talking about makeup and skincare. Now, we're not going to cover how you put makeup on, like how do you make the eyeshadow do the thingy, and how you take all that makeup and like put it on and make yourself look as beautiful as Deborah does right now. I'm backwards.
Oh, thank you.
So, that for those kind of things, there are probably millions of YouTube videos out there. You can just go and find them. The other thing that's recommended is practice and trial and error. You're going to have to do a lot of that to perfect putting on makeup. I've seen enough people try it once. I've done it myself. I've tried it once and gotten interesting results. So practice makes perfect in this case.
Mm-hmm.
But what we can go over is skincare and just some basic tips and tricks about makeup. And, of course, several myths. Now, the first one is preparing to put on the makeup, which, Deborah, I'll let you take over from here because we are so out of my depth it's not even funny.
Yeah, no problem. So one thing, just like when you're preparing any sort of like beautiful canvas, you gotta prep your canvas. So obviously your face. Honestly, makeup is a work of art. It is a form of expressing yourself. So you want to make sure like your skin is taken care of with makeup, because makeup will and can cause breakouts, blemishes, discoloration, different things like that. So you want to make sure like you prep your skin. If you don't already have a skincare routine, I would definitely recommend, especially when you're getting into cosplay makeup or even any sort of like full face makeup, I recommend picking up a skincare routine. And in order to do that, you want to look into, okay, what kind of skin type do I have? There are 3 main types of skin types. You have your dry skin, oily skin, and then combo skin. Combo skin means you are both dry and oily in certain places. Usually when they say combo, they're referred to it, you're oily in you're oily in your T-zone, which is straight down and across. That tends to be where most combo skinned people have it. Just like me, I'm combo skinned. I have the world's oiliest nose, like no other. I kid you not. So that's kind of like where you want to start out. Now, if you're not sure like what kind of products to get in order to start, there are a couple different options on trying out. If you have very sensitive skin, you're obviously going to want to look at very my brain just completely froze there. You're going to want to look at products that cater to sensitive skin. And even then, if you don't know where to begin, I know online there's a lot of different things you can look into. You also don't have to buy, like, again, the top of the notch skincare products. I personally also recommend talking to the people at either like Sephora or Ulta. Ulta Beauty actually has professional estheticians who are licensed in skincare. So they know exactly how to, they'll look at your skin, examine it, and be like, okay, here are some good products for you. And if you're in a budget, they actually help you within your budget, which is great. I've had a great experience with Ulta helping me with my skincare, and I've seen great results. And then one thing to keep in mind, though, when you do start a skincare routine, if you're using products you're not used to, give it like 2 weeks. When you're using a new product, your skin is going to react to it. So you are going to break out more. And that is unfortunately a fact of skincare, is if you already have perfect skin and you start breaking out, you probably had a lot of dirt in your pores that you did not know about. So just let it do its job. It could take 2 weeks for your skin to clear back up. But also if you're experiencing
So
like
it's
odd
kind of
burn
like
or oh, go
so
ahead.
it's kind of like a detox of the skin.
Yep. I had really good skin growing up. I did not break out much throughout high school. I was one of the lucky few. After I got out of high school, I started doing a skincare routine, and I immediately saw like how gross my skin actually was. My pores were gross. So even if you do have perfect skin, there's if you don't know what you're looking for, you're like, oh, I'm fine. Nope. There is more likely or not that your pores are just clogged beyond, and you're just lucky enough you didn't break out.
Yeah.
But
And then there are those of us like myself who have I've had acne pretty much my whole high school life. So I'm like, yeah, I know the acne problem.
yeah. And there's nothing wrong with having acne. It's part of being human. And
Mm-hmm.
even if you do have a constant, a good face skincare routine, you're still gonna get blemishes. I'm breaking out all hell across my nose here. Thankfully
Mm-hmm.
my camera's not low enough you can't see it, so don't have to worry about that too much.
Yay!
But yeah, no, definitely skincare, you want to prep that. If it's your first time starting a skincare routine, I would start like a month in advance before your cosplay. This way you can find a product that works, test out some different ones, kind of figure out what works, what doesn't, and then go from there. Um, I do say one of the things I do recommend people do get into their skincare routine, nose strips. So these strips, they obviously they're legit just strips you stick in your T-zone, so your chin, nose, and forehead. And what those do is they help clear like blackheads or if you've got like a pimple forming on your nose and whatnot. I've actually used them like on my cheek here too before. And they'll help pull those out. It might take honestly like a week or two to get all of it because it could be if you didn't open your pores up and all that other fun, complicated skincare stuff. It can take a while, especially if you've got really
Mm.
clogged pores. But honestly,
Yeah.
strips help so much.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, we have a question. If our IT person, who this week is Casey, could, is there makeup specific for men? Ooh, that's a good question. Which actually brings out another question. Is there a makeup specific per gender?
No, actually, honestly, makeup is for everybody. Men, if you want to wear makeup or and I know it's been stigmatized for both makeup and skincare for men. Honestly, if you want to do it, do it. I've seen some guys rock some amazing eyeshadow, and I'm jealous personally because their makeup game is on point.
Yeah.
And honestly, like I know again it's stigmatized, but personally I find a man who has a really good skincare routine more attractive, honestly. Because they just
Guys get acne too.
yeah, so you get acne, get because like there are products that are they're catered towards men like I know like Axe is one they have some face stuff, but personally like from what I've seen that stuff is not that great. Um, so like definitely like if you're worried about it being like floral scented and whatnot, honestly face wash you can't smell it after you wash it off. It's for putting
Mhm.
on, you get that nice, good scent and whatnot, but afterwards you don't smell it. But even if
Yeah,
you do want to smell
I yeah. So basically, unless capitalism has gotten involved, makeup is pretty much genderless, and so is
yeah,
skincare. It's just
it
it's
really,
society that has said, "Oh, this is for women, this is for men," and they do not
hmm
mix.
yeah, which is stupid. Honestly, like, my dudes, you want to wear this rockin' lipstick? Do it. I think you look sexy. You're good.
Go for it.
Hell yeah. And honestly, like a lot of the makeup artists that I've talked to at Sephora were men. And they've helped me with my makeup game so much. I appreciate you guys. So yeah, no, definitely. Yeah. Don't be afraid to rock it. People be like, "Oh, why are you wearing makeup?" Being like, "Oh, you noticed. Thank you." Don't honestly, if you have confidence in it, they're not gonna know what to do about it. Just so if you want to wear it, rock it and just have confidence. Being like, because if you're confident if you're confident about it, then they're less like they can't do anything to you. Um,
And if guys want to
'Cause
have a skincare regimen, go for it, because
yes,
their skin goes through as much as a woman's skin, and I don't know where the stigma came from that men could not take care of their skin, but women had to.
yeah. I really don't know where that came from, honestly, but yeah, not it's just yeah, just guys, please. I have some guy friends who don't, and I'm just like, please do a face mask, please, because they break out so bad, and they're just like, oh, I don't have any products catered to me, and I'm just like, here's my face wash. It's a very generic Neutrogena brand. I'm just like, just use it, and it'll do wonders for you.
Yeah.
Granted, me and this one guy had the same skin type, so it worked for us, but
Yay! Yes, no, that pretty much that's what I'm getting is like you've got to figure out what your skin type is, and then you figure out like if you're oily, dry, or a combo, and then
mhm.
like how sensitive your skin is, and that kind of dictates, oh, what do I need to gear myself towards?
Yeah. Honestly, usually like people who have super sensitive skin, we know right away because uh, it could be like shampoo bothers our skin. It could be
Mm-hmm.
um, sunscreen. Usually, most people know right away if their skin is sensitive or not. But once you get into skincare routines, it's a matter of figuring out like, is this too harsh or is it too gentle? So that's honestly where I definitely recommend talking to someone at like talking to a professional like Ulta, Sephora, someone there because they know what they're doing. So, or they can even recommend someone that does know what they're doing if they don't.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
There was
so
also
that's
something.
okay.
There was also something in skincare you were talking about called a toner, and
Yeah.
I have no idea what that is.
So it
What's a
is a
toner?
liquid. So after you
Mm-hmm.
wash your face, usually with like I personally like to use like warm to hot water, because that opens up your pores. And face wash will get like the first layer off, and then you've got like an under kind of it just kind of sits there of just dirt in your skin, or even leftover makeup sometimes. Like face wash won't get all of it off. So what you want to get is a toner cleanser. I believe they're both the same thing. Don't quote me on that. But essentially what it does, it goes through and it removes the last layer of like dirt, makeup, anything like that, and it'll help clear your pores some more. And then, unfortunately, it can dry your skin out, so make sure you have a moisturizer afterwards. But yeah, that's pretty much what it does. It helps clears out the stuff that your face wash didn't get off, or even if you like, sometimes face wash can get like you get residue from your face wash, that will help it get the rest of it off.
Okay. So we've talked a lot about like taking care of your skin, which if you're putting on a makeup, which if you're going into cosplay, sometimes your makeup can get very heavy. So you do want to have really healthy skin when you do all this really heavy makeup, or afterwards it's going to be a bear to get it off
Yes.
and to deal with the breakout.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And if you're just starting out with makeup, you're gonna break out afterwards. That is a fact, unfortunately. If you're lucky enough that you don't, good for you. I'm jealous. But yeah, no, when you're taking off your makeup, please, people, wash your face. Don't just use a makeup wipe. It's not gonna get everything off. It's gonna clog your pores, and it's gross. It's gross. I get it, you're tired sometimes and you can't wash your face like the morning after. Just, just please, though, if you can, wash your face.
Yeah.
Which I know a lot of cosplayers are guilty of it. Half of my cosplay friends don't wash their face till the next morning. They'll just use a makeup wipe the night of, which I get. We're tired after a con, but I find it if you wash your face after you use your makeup wipe to get it off, it'll really help lessen your chances of breakouts.
Hmm. All right. So that's skincare and a little bit of makeup. But let's go into makeup itself, which how do you where do you start? Because there is like you have the cheap makeup and then you have makeup that is hundreds and hundreds of dollars. And one of the things that a lot of people say is the more expensive it is, the better quality you're getting.
Yeah, so
True or
that's our
false?
first myth. That is false. I use a combination of both expensive makeup and like I actually the eyeliner the what is this called? The eyeshadow.
Mascara?
That's the word. The eyeshadow I am using is from a makeup palette that I bought for like less than like $10 on Amazon a couple years back, and it does better work than half my expensive makeup. So that's
Nice.
definitely yeah, it's like yes, don't get me wrong, some of the higher quality stuff is nicer than some of the cheaper stuff, but not always. So it's also a matter of like how pigmented are you looking for your eyeshadow? What kind of eyeliner are you looking for? And so that will play a lot into what brand you go for. I am a personal fan of both Elf and NYX for my cheap ones. Their eyeliner for NYX, oh my gosh, mwah. And NYX, their eyeliner, I spend anywhere from like $5 to like $8 for their nice waterproof stuff. They even have cheaper ones too. Um, my camera is very off center here. Sorry. My cat is pushing the thing behind. She's stretching. Um, but yeah, no. So your makeup stuff. Literally, I have some of my most used makeup eyeshadow is literally like this NYX. Let's see if you guys can see it. There we go. NYX Ignite. This is their steampunk collection, and I think I spent maybe $10 on this sucker. But it
And
just
it
has a
wasn't on
nice array of.
sale.
Nope, not on sale. I bought this right after it came out
Mhm.
at Ulta Beauty. Absolutely, like my absolute favorite palette. And again, like $10 for this sucker. Whereas the nicer high brand like Urban Decay, their stuff can go anywhere from, if you're lucky, you'll find a $20 one, or they can go up to 60. And I can't afford $60 on a makeup palette that I may or may not like.
Hmm.
So,
So a
but when you're
lot of it
starting out
is
with,
finding. Yep.
oh, I'm
Sorry.
sorry, go ahead.
So when you're starting out, a lot of it is just experimenting. So we're going back to the lots of practice and lots of trial and error for makeup.
Yeah. And if you have no experience with makeup, go with the cheaper ones. Honestly, like, who cares if you buy the e.l.f. makeup? I know I got made fun of a lot when people found out I was using e.l.f. for starting out because it's considered the cheap brand. And I'm just like, yeah, but it works, and I don't know what I'm doing. Whereas now I can confidently go and look at a makeup palette, test it. I know how to do it now because it's been like 8 years, and I can go and figure out,
Hmm.
okay, this is the color I want. This is how I want it to appear on my skin. What brand is good for this? Whereas when you're just starting out, you have no idea. You don't. I have a friend. She doesn't know the difference between liquid eyeliner and crayon, and so which is fine. And it's not something that you grow up learning.
No.
And
I have a question. What's cram?
crown. So it's literally like using a crown on your face, but it's meant for your eyes. I don't think it'll
Oh,
appear on my camera, but like here is
okay.
I don't see that, but it looks like it's legit.
Hello, welcome back. Sorry about that. We had some technical difficulties. Oops.
For
So we
joy.
had left. Yeah, we had left off on a question where Deborah was explaining. Cause we had a. There was a comparison between liquid something and crayon something.
Eyeliner, yes.
Eyeliner. Okay. I'm.
Yeah, so liquid eyeliner and
As I said,
crayon.
I'm learning this with everybody else.
Which is, again, it's fine. I grew up with four sisters, so most of them were very much into makeup. So I got to
Hmm.
watch them, so I kind of knew a little bit growing up, but not a whole lot. So, but yeah, no, it's honestly just looking up like videos and being like, okay, show me eyeliner and whatnot. Um, because I know a lot of YouTubers prefer to use like liquid eyeliner, just the way because it's more dramatic than crown. But again, if you look it up, it'll show you like what each looks like. Because there's gonna be a texture difference. There's gonna be a dramatic. I'm wearing liquid eyeliner, so it's more bold. You can see it better on camera too. Um, but yeah, say just if you can experiment. Each one's gonna come out differently. Also, you don't have to do it directly on your eyes when you first start. If you ever go to makeup stores and you see a bunch of people with like colorful swatches on their hands, it's literally because they're testing it. Most makeup stores will have testers you can try out, especially for like eyeshadows, because you want to see that, pigment. You want to see if it looks nice or if it has a good shimmer, maybe.
Hmm.
So that's usually what happens. I tend to have most of my hand covered by the end of a Ulta visit because I'm testing everything, whether I need to or not.
Hmm. Well, you
It's
gotta figure out
fun.
if you need it.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to
Yeah.
see how this looks on my skin tone because that is one thing actually with eyeshadows. Your skin tone is going to tell you whether or not how pigmented it's going to show up on your skin. Because on some of my friends who are darker skinned than me, because I'm pale, I am whiter than a ghost. Ghosts are jealous of how white I am. Which this camera makes me look more yellow, unfortunately, so y'all are lucky there. But on me, even though like I'm very pale and white, some colors don't show up on me great. So I have to, try out different shades and whatnot. Whereas on someone darker, it's gonna show much better on them. Which you'd think it'd be the
Mm.
opposite, but it's not always the case. My hair is like sticking to my lipstick. It's just.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the joys of makeup. There's no one way right way, just like everything else with cosplay. So, but yeah, don't be afraid to try out cheaper brands, and then if you can afford to get some of the expensive stuff, I say go for it. They've got some really good brands. I know the unicorn tier stuff. I've heard that's absolutely amazing to try. I can't afford it at this time because I'm getting ready to move again soon, so that's the joys. But like I
Yeah.
use like one of my favorite highlighters, which is the shiny stuff you put on your cheeks to get that nice glow. My favorite is like literally Revlon. It's literally called strobe because the other ones don't show up great on me.
Ah. Oh, by the way, Deborah, we have another question. Casey, if
Ooh.
you could show us the question. Ooh. Are there any suggestions using FX makeup, i.e., elf ears, horns, and scars? Oh, we were going to
Yeah,
cover
that is.
this later, but we can
Mhm.
cover it right now, too.
Yeah, we can do a quickie. So actually, it is a good point though, because a lot of prosthetics that you get for like elf ears and whatnot, they're not gonna match your skin tone half the time. So what you can do, there are different ways to do that. Depending on where you buy your prosthetics, sometimes they can try to match it as close to your skin tone. But most of the time, they just come in this standard latex color, which is like a pinkish tan kind of color. Which if you're lucky, it matches you. If not, If you're like me, it's going to be too dark. So one thing you can do is you can actually get your foundation that you have. Usually a liquid and powder one is a good one. So use a little bit of both. But you can just put like you're gonna have to do like maybe like 2 or 3 layers depending on how thick or how good of a foundation you're using. Do a couple layers on it, seal it with it's literally just called sealer, I believe. And then you can even and then I'd recommend using a powder as well, as that will definitely help set it more so it doesn't quite smudge on your wig and whatnot. For
Mm.
scar makeup, you're gonna want to get your basic matte palettes. I believe this is also like a Revlon one. I use this for my scar makeup. It has a whole bunch of different shades of like browns, a nice purple, and a pink in there too. Find one like that. You're gonna want it matte because you don't obviously you don't want shimmer for scars, but scars for makeup can be a little bit trickier. Just because depending on the scar type, you get the scar, is it a burn scar, is it cut, it's going to have different shades. So you're definitely going to want to get like 1 or 2 different palettes, at least palettes, for matte. And then experiment with it again. Because, again, those palettes the skin color is going to appear differently. Have a reference photo too on like the scar, and then look up other, rather not just the character, because for the characters, it's going to just be like 1 or 2 colors, and it's not going to help you at all. Look up like real life scar images. And just kind of go from there. There are a lot of makeup artists online who specialize in scars, and they are great to watch.
Now you mentioned sealing the makeup. And then I remember you were talking to me about sealing the makeup on like yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I'm rather curious about this.
Yeah, so just like when you're prepping, you want to seal, just like when you're sealing paint, you're going to need to seal your makeup. It'll help it keeping from smudging, or if you're, depending on the type of makeup, running even if it's raining. So you can there's 2 different types of sealant. There's a powder one, or a spray. I personally prefer the spray just because it helps. I find it mattes me more, but that's just also the kind of sealant I have. I use the NYX sealant, and this really helps me because I have combination skin, but most of it's like on my eyelids and nose, so my contour likes to smudge on my nose a lot. Whereas if I use the sealant, it'll help it keep it from smudging. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So I mean, I just imagined a spray, and I'm like, all I've ever really worked with is hairspray. So I'm just like sitting here imagining you dousing yourself in hairspray, and that's not the correct image. I'm guessing you have
Kind
to
of.
experiment a little. You have to
It
experiment a little bit with the sealant too.
A little bit. It's kind of one of those like, okay, do I like how this sits on me? Because again, your skin type's going to it's going to affect on what kind of sealant you use. I know oily people. Most of my oily friends prefer. I can speak English today. I promise. They prefer to use a powder base because it gives them more of a matte finish, whereas
Mm-hmm.
a liquid sealant can actually give you more of a dewy look. Which depending on the look you're going for, dewy like you're like not quite like you're sweating, but
Mm. It can give you more of
but
a shine or a
yeah,
sheen.
exactly. Which in some depends on the cosplay and whatnot. You might prefer one or the other. But yeah, so
So do
sealant
sealants,
that can. Oh, good.
so do sealants come off the same as makeup? Like you just can take the makeup wipe it off, and then wash your face, and it's come off, or do you have to use something special to make it come off?
Nope. Makeup wipes are designed to get sealant off. It is easier to use a makeup wipe rather than just plain old soap. Then again, you don't want to just use any soap on your face anyways, because your skin is going to hate it. But yeah, makeup wipes are absolutely great for getting makeup off. It'll even get sealant off. Even some body paints too.
Oh, yes. Speaking of body paint, we have some tips and tricks and do's and don'ts about body paint. Amongst them is check with your convention and or the venue. Actually, no or. Check with the convention and the venue about what rules or restrictions they might have about body paint. There are stories I've heard from various cosplayers that I've spoken to that certain conventions actually were like no to body paint because it was like after the Homestuck after
Yeah,
the
Homestuck.
Homestuck came out, it a lot of people were wearing body paint, and apparently no one like it. Body paint is like any makeup apparently, and it got everywhere, and the venue was not happy. The convention was not happy.
Yeah,
So
body
I'm.
are out of fibers, so yeah.
Which doesn't that mean it was all over their cosplay too?
hmm
Ooh,
And it probably destroyed a lot of people's cosplays.
ooh.
I know that
So
was what I'm sorry,
yeah,
there's a
go.
time delay here, guys. So,
Yeah, sorry about
um,
that.
actually, a lot of conventions actually started their body paint rules because of Homestuck cosplayers, because that was the biggest, most popular thing, and they have gray skin, um, and so little what was it, 10 to 14-year-olds, I believe, were the most two people who did it. They didn't know that you had to prep it, you had to seal it. Good heavens, they didn't know to seal it. So they would put it on, and I had a friend who she did a Homestuck cosplay back when we were in high school, and it ruined the shirt she had because she didn't know um, that you had to seal the body paint.
Yeah. And you can use the same makeup sealant you would use on your face just all over those so that you were covered.
You can, yes. It's recommended to Most people recommend to use a body paint specific sealant, but I've
Oh.
used powdered makeup sealant as well as my spray to seal the makeup, the body paint as well. I've only done body paint like twice before, mostly just on my face and chest, so I'm not in physical contact with like my hands. I don't have to worry about smudging it onto people's products and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, which an alternate to, like, if you don't want to do full body paint, because that's a lot of product, so it's going to be more expensive, more time consuming to get that on and off, is there's actually body suits you can get that look like
Oh.
they're either yeah, so they can be like stocking material. Like if you ever see like the like at Spirit like Halloween, they have like those like green body suits. And essentially
Mm-hmm.
like what that's what some of them are. There's some that look like stockings, so it's closer to skin texture. You can get those suckers too for like your hands, arms, or if you don't want to paint your stomach because you're wearing like a crop top or something. They have it for that too. Those suckers are great, and this way you don't have to worry about getting product on your hands and smudging it everywhere.
Yeah. Yes, which would be good. Now, the other myth we have is to properly cosplay, like say we were doing Starfire or you were doing a Homestuck cosplay, you have to use body paint. You have to match the tone of the character you're cosplaying. Otherwise, you're not doing
No.
it right.
No, that one,
Completely false.
that's it's completely false. There are some, I was gonna say a really bad word there, but I won't curse. There are some bad people who say like, "Oh, you're not the right skin color. Why are you cosplaying them?" Or "Why didn't you do body paint for them?" And honestly, it's a lot of work. And some people are allergic to body paint, so they can't do it. And you don't have to. little old me, when I of course I did homestead cosplay myself. I had a reaction to my body paint, so I couldn't wear it, and I went just as me, and it worked fine. But you also don't have to. If you're also just doing like a photo shoot, if the person who's editing your photos, you can ask them, being like, "Hey, can you Photoshop my skin tone for me? So I'm legit orange like Starfire, or I have the gray skin
Mm-hmm.
for homes."
Yeah.
Now, that doesn't justify doing blackface. That's never appropriate. I will say that
No.
now.
Nope. There is appropriate cosplay and not appropriate cosplay, and
Exactly. Yeah.
that's not even cosplay. We do
That's not
don't do
cosplay. That's blackfacing. It's not appropriate, guys. Um, Whereas I do know there are some cosplayers of color who are concerned about cosplaying white people. Guys, that one's okay. You're as long as you're not like painting yourself white to do it, you're fine. Just be you. I've seen a cosplayer, a woman of color who did Peach. She was gorgeous. Oh my gosh.
And if anybody has any, like, if you want to cosplay and you are not the right skin color, I want everyone to check out something called Naruto in the Hood. If you haven't heard of it
Oh,
already, it is a African American guy who made an absolutely wonderful reenactment of Naruto in a neighborhood, and it was beautiful and wonderful and so good. It like I think if memory serves, he's on YouTube. Just type that in, and it's good. I think we even were playing it at one of the Senshi cons at 2019. Don't quote me on that.
I think it was 2019. Yeah, I vaguely remember us talking
Yeah.
about it.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
Yeah, because I think
it
we're
was
having.
really good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
we were having
I think I remember we were all gushing about it for days.
Yes, it is so good. Check it out. If you ever feel like, "Oh, I'm not the right skin I'm not the right skin tone to do my absolute favorite character," which one of my favorite characters is Usopp, and yeah, no, I'm not the right skin color. But you know what? Cosplay who you love. Put love into your cosplay and you will look wonderful.
Yeah,
That is
ignore
the
the
main thing.
haters. Yeah, I guarantee for every hater, there's like four people in love.
Mhm.
And if you ever need good like references or stories, there is a photographer. He's, I believe, Cosplay of America. I believe his name is. He goes by. Do you remember who I'm talking about, Rebecca?
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, he
Yeah.
did the book. He was at SenshiCon one year. Yeah, he did Cosplay in
Yeah.
America, I believe it was. And he actually made this huge book of people cosplaying at various conventions all across
Hmm.
America. Yeah, and it's yeah, no, if you ever feel like you can't cosplay because you don't have the right skin color or makeup is daunting to you, um, you know what? Do what you're comfortable with. Cosplay is
Yeah.
supposed to be about fun.
It is. Um, if you're ever just like feeling that, definitely go onto his page. He has, if you go on Facebook, he has a Facebook page for it. He actually posts the stories of some of these cosplayers, and a lot of the cosplayers will go through like, I wasn't confident about this, or I wasn't comfortable like with my body type, but because I loved the character so much, I wanted to try it. And some of them actually won awards with their cosplay, even though like they weren't sure how people were going to react. And it's
Mm-hmm.
just honestly like I know his page has helped me a lot with my confidence, um, and I know it's helped a lot of women, everyone of color. So I recommend looking him up if you can, and read some of the stories. I know even like his book, I believe there's some stories in there of the cosplayers themselves.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
let's
So
see.
really fast, going back to prosthetics. One of the big questions I've always had is how do you make the prosthetics stay? Because I know like I remember as a kid having those little vampire teeth that you would just stick in your mouth and they would just kind of stay there because you were just holding them with your tongue and or pressure. But how do you make like ears stay on, teeth stay in?
Yeah. So for skin, there's sorry. Oh shoot, I just forgot the name of the product. Um, oh, Spirit Gum. There's a product called Spirit Gum, and that stuff is it is professionally made product made for sticking prosthetics to your skin. So it's essentially skin. You don't want to use super glue. Please don't use super glue on your face or skin, um, especially on your face because that stuff is very has very strong fumes, and that can irritate your eyes and nose, and that's just a whole other hell you don't want to deal with. So I definitely recommend getting Spirit Gum. There are several different types of or brands of Spirit Gum, and you might prefer one over the other. I had a cheap one I got from actually Village Inn a couple years back. That stuff was heaven on earth. And then I bought a more expensive one, and I didn't like it as much. But also,
again, that's
same thing happened.
Yeah. So it's one of those things where you've got to find the brand that works for you, and the brand that works for you may be a cheap brand, or you may need to use the more expensive brand because you have a particular skin condition that just this is the brand that works for you. And if that's the case, that's the case. It's what works for you, and it's what you're comfortable wearing.
Exactly. But yeah, definitely for prosthetics, look into Spirit Gum. I know one of the more popular brands is Mahenron. They specialize in not only prosthetics, but body paint as well. A lot of their products I use personally to this day still. Actually, I think most of the cosplayers I know use Mahenron, either body paint or Spirit Gum. But that's the best way to get like elf ears or scars to stay on. I know some of them have already have like a sticky stuff on them. I don't know if that actually works. I haven't tried those yet myself, unfortunately, so I can't say for sure. So it's going to be an experiment one way or the other. Lots of YouTube channels. If I can, I'll try to get a list, maybe get you guys a YouTube list of some recommended YouTubers for you, so you guys can take a look, see what you like. Again, it's going to be some of my preferred people that I use. I'm doing the same actually with the makeup as well. A lot of these YouTube, so it should be down below in the description for you guys, or chat. Not 100% sure where we're putting that sticker, but there'll be a list there for you guys. Oh, it is in the description. Thank you, Casey. We hear Casey, you guys don't.
Yep.
He's our disembodied voice. But yeah, I compiled a list of some of my favorite YouTubers. Again, they're my favorite. They're not going to work for everybody because, so maybe you don't like their personality or something. But there's some of the ones that I've used for, like Sophia. I don't remember her last name. It starts with an N, but she's on YouTube. She's done some really cool like drugstore makeup videos, and she's actually really honest. She's just like, yeah, I like some of it. I don't like some of it. And that will actually really help. I also got some more famous people on there as well. So yeah, check out the list if you need some good ideas if it's your first time, because there's 1,000,001 YouTube videos for makeup and prosthetics as well.
Which is what makes it nice, is that way you have lots of people who you can look at and experiment with, because what works for Deborah, what works for me, what works for you may not work for your friend, and that's why it's nice to be able to reference someone else and be like, hey, what do they do? What does this person do? But back to sticking things on. I'm guessing Spirit Gum does not go in the mouth for dentures, no. Yeah. I'm guessing for dentures, could you just use like denture gum or something? Like if you're trying to get, like if your character has these really wonky teeth, or you have like little vampire fangs, Um, denture gum or something?
Yeah. So I've some of the people I've talked to, they've recommended denture gum. If you get there's a vampire fang kits you can get Spirit Halloween or online. They actually come with its own teeth glue, which I hear works pretty well.
Hmm.
So look into those. I hear the vampire kits are actually pretty good. I haven't tested it out myself yet. I've been meaning to, but I no one I've cosplay has fangs, so it's just like ah.
It has not been on the list of things to experiment yet.
No, I've been doing makeup more, so I have a large
Yeah.
variety now, but fangs is not
Mm-hmm.
quite there yet.
But if anybody has any recommendations for good sticking teeth into the mouth, feel free to leave your comments down below. We always are looking for more advice, more talking. We always wanted to make this an open platform. Don't be afraid to give your suggestions of what works for you, because what works for you might work for someone else.
Exactly. Because again, we want to make sure, this is your even easier time finding this information. So,
Mm-hmm.
because like
Yep.
this is something I'm not experienced with, whereas someone else might be.
Yep, yep. Oh, one last myth to talk about before we go, because we're almost done. Um, Putting on makeup, you will look good in both photos and in person. True or false?
False. That is unfortunately how it works. So when you're doing photos, your makeup is going to be heavier and or darker, just because of the quality of the photos. So whereas on camera it might look I have like a very subtle, smoky eye, which is the most common um, makeup look to do. So on camera it might look, really subtle and whatnot, whereas in person it's gonna be dark. That stuff is gonna be layered and it's not gonna look as good. Whereas if I
Mm-hmm.
do it in person, if I just want like your everyday makeup isn't gonna work for a professional photo shoot. It's not gonna appear as well. You're gonna need to do darker colors for photos. Um, there's lots of different techniques to use for photo shoots rather than in person. Which I know is the struggle for cosplayers when they're going to a con, because you want to look good in person, but also on camera. So it's a matter of finding that good in between. Most of us tend to
Mm-hmm.
prefer the in person look, so more of a natural, um, kind of subtler look. But once you get better at makeup, you can kind of find a good in between that where you look pretty decent in everyday cameras. But if you're going for more like a professional photo shoot, I recommend looking up tutorials on photography makeup because it's gonna be very different.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be a lot heavier, so it'll look really weird in person, but on camera it'll look really good. And I know that was something that like old movies, they had to really cake on the makeup to
Yes.
actually make it work on screen. So the actors looked really weird in person, but on screen they looked absolutely gorgeous.
Oh yeah, and that is that is something you learn unfortunately. Um, so if you got a friend who knows how to do it, take full advantage of them, please.
Mm-hmm.
It's unfortunately it's a hard skill to balance out. One thing you can do though when you're experimenting with your makeup is actually get your phone and turn on the camera, and that will help. That's one thing I did today actually. Rebecca saw me most of the time doing my makeup on as we're testing. I was doing the
Mm-hmm.
makeup and I was doing it first with the mirror, just kind of like every day. I'm like, okay, this looks really good. And then I grabbed my phone and I put it up and I just put selfie mode on. I was just like, oh, my eyeshadow looks lighter on camera than I wanted it to. So I had to go in and I had to darken it quite a bit more.
Yeah.
And that's one
And
way to
that's
do it.
mhm.
Sorry.
You're good. The delay is throwing us a little off.
It's a fact of life.
Yep. But yeah, so that's one thing. Okay, we're almost out of time, but one last thing I would like to talk about is prosthetics and like false arms, false legs, like a pirate wooden leg, a hook, or a long nose, like Usopp. So like, can you use spirit gum to hold like you would have to do different things for different items. Like a false arm would have to be held on with like straps, I'm guessing, but like a false nose could be held on with like spirit gum.
Yes. So I know for prosthetics, there are a couple different techniques you can use. There are gloves you can get that are printed to look like prosthetics, and some of them are actually pretty good quality.
Oh, nice.
Whereas prosthetics, just like you want like extra limbs, those are going to be a lot trickier. That's a little bit more advanced. So it's definitely something you're gonna have to look into researching. You're gonna need you're gonna need to either make a harness, or if you're lucky enough to find one online, they're gonna buy one. Um, and that one, the extra limbs are gonna be trickier, honestly. Um, Whereas prosthetics for like the face, like Usopp's nose, you can go on Etsy, and half the time you can find someone who has one. Usually for that one, because it's so long, there'll be some kind of like wiring inside to help hold it up. But you're definitely going to want to make sure you've got a good skin adhesive for it.
Yep. Well, unless anybody has any questions, and if Deborah has anything else she wants to cover, we've pretty much wrapped up everything that we have to discuss right now on skincare and makeup. Now, is this everything that could have been covered? No, but this is a lot of information, and we just dumped it all on you. Feel free to watch the video again if you need to pick up some more tips and tricks or go over something that we talked about. Deborah, you got anything left to talk about?
Oops, yeah, sorry. We are looking at doing a part 2 where we'll go more into doing like how do you contour, how do you do what about eyebrows, different things like that, because those are important things when you're cosplaying. We are looking at also doing specifically for how to make yourself look more masculine, different things like that. So hopefully we can do a part 2 here soon. We might skip it to do something else and then come back to it later. We'll see. If you guys prefer us to do the part 2 sooner, let us know down below.
Yep.
But yeah, hopefully... Oops. Oh. Hopefully everything worked out for you guys. If you have any questions, concerns, you can either hit us up at our email or just comment down below and we'll get back to you as soon as we can.
Yep. By the way, the next episode will be January 23rd, 2:15 at our YouTube channel. We look forward to seeing you there, and thank you for joining us this week.
Yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe, guys.
Yep, that too. All right, we'll see you all later. If anyone has any suggestions for topics for us to talk about, again, feel free to put it down below. We are always looking for whatever questions you have.
All right.